Away. What would you like to ask me, my friends?
So, welcome to the Holistic Kid Show. My name is Zane.
My name's Imad.
And my name is Costa.
We're kids here to educate us kids from the inside out. Imad, did you hear the latest statistics on kids' mental health? And 42% of high school students in 2021 reported feeling so sad or hopeless for at least 2 consecutive weeks in the previous year that they have stopped engaging in their usual activities, up from 26% in 2009. Young people are more likely to experience symptoms of anxiety than older adults.
In adolescents between 13 and 18 years old, 31.9% are affected by anxiety disorder.
That's a lot of kids, almost a third of all kids.
What is going on? Can we help these kids?
Absolutely, we can. And another statistic to add to that, some of those anxiety disorders start at a very early age. In fact, the average age of onset of generalized anxiety disorders in adolescence is age 6. So what that means is we need to think about preventing these things when children are really young, right? And that's what simple mindfulness practices can do. And that's what my books are all about.
So today we have an expert on this very topic, Miss Kira Willey. Kira Willey is an award-winning children's music artist, author, kids yoga and mindfulness expert, TEDx speaker, and creator of Rockin' Yoga school programs and the Rockin' Yoga team membership. Kira's children's mindfulness books, published by Random House Kids, include the best-selling Breathe Like a Bear, which has earned more than 4,000 five-star reviews and been translated into 16 different languages. Kira has also authored the children's book series Mindfulness Moments for Kids. Kira's TEDx talk, Bite-Sized Mindfulness, can be viewed online. Miss Kira, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so honored to have you today.
So on.
Honored to be here.
So, Miss Kira, you were definitely on a journey. Where did this journey start?
It started with music for me. I grew up a lifelong musician. I played the violin starting at age 5 and learned some other instruments along the way and started writing my own songs when I was teaching children. So those became my first albums. Because I taught music and yoga to children and was writing songs, I just put them all together and released my albums of kids' yoga songs. Then we decided to turn them into books, the same kinds of ideas and exercises and activities I was teaching with the songs, we started putting into books. So the books and the music came all together, and now I do them both all the time, and I teach grown-ups like teachers and parents how to use mindfulness and music with kids. And I perform a lot for kids in schools as well, which is really fun.
Mrs. Kira, what is mindfulness?
That's a great question. Mindfulness is just paying attention to what's happening right now, the present moment. So that means in your body, in your mind, and all around you. And when we practice doing that, paying attention to what's happening right now, it helps us calm ourselves. It helps us focus our attention. And those things can help relieve symptoms of anxiety and depression and sadness because we're focusing on what's happening now, and we're not worrying about the future, and we're not thinking about the past, which is 2 things that we do a lot, right? It's natural to do that, to worry about the future or think about the past. But when we can bring our attention right into the present moment, we feel better. And we can also just pay more attention to what's going on inside our bodies and around us, like to the people that we love.
How can How can we start adding mindfulness into our lives?
Well, there's lots and lots of different ways. And that's what my books are all about, because it can be something really simple and small. It's like if you want to start, exercising every day, you don't start by going out and running 20 miles, right? You start with something little, so you'll do it every day. So you can pick one of the little exercises in my book, like bear breath or candle breath, or any one of them. There's 30 in one book, there's 30 in another book, there's lots to choose from. And just do it every day, like attach it to something that you already do. So for example, if you guys get in the car every morning to go to school or to childcare or to the store, and you do that every morning, do a little mindfulness exercise every time you get in the car, or every time you sit down to eat with your family. Take 1 minute and do a mindfulness exercise, or every time before you go to bed, when you're getting all snuggled in and cozy, before you read your book, do a mindfulness exercise. So it's just about taking little baby steps and making it part of your routine every day.
What does our breathing have to do with our mindfulness?
I'm sorry, say again?
What does our breathing have to do with mindfulness?
Our breathing. Gotcha. Great question. So the most common tool, or one of the most common tools we use for mindfulness, is our breath. And there are 2 reasons for that. Number 1, it's always accessible. You've always got it with you, right? You don't ever leave your breathing at home when you go somewhere, right? It's always with you. And number 2, when we control our breath, like we take long, slow, deep breaths in and out, it's been shown by studies, by science, to calm the body down. It calms the nervous system. It sends a signal to the brain that everything's okay. So those are the 2 reasons that we use breath a lot when we practice mindfulness.
So how else does mindfulness help us?
Consistent mindfulness practice can help us in so many ways. I already mentioned calming ourselves down, right? Which especially for young kids can be really hard, because we can have ants in our pants and be really hyper sometimes. And sometimes we have to calm down to sit at, our desk at school, that kind of thing. It can help us focus our attention, which is really important when we need to listen to directions, right? Hear what the teacher is saying or what someone in your family is asking you to do, or you have homework you need to do. You got to be able to focus your attention. It can also help us let go of anxiety and stress that we don't need, that aren't healthy for our bodies. And those things in turn help us sleep better, feel better, improve our mood. They can improve our performance in school. They can help prevent depression and anxiety disorders. So there's a whole host of ripple effects that come along with consistent mindfulness practice too.
That's amazing.
Amazing.
So
There is a lot of stress going on in the world today. So we need to do more than ever.
thank you for this.
Yep, I agree.
What are some ways that what are the best ways that you can get mindful?
What are your favorite breaths to do?
Great question. Well, let's see. Do you want to try one with me?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So pick up your candle. Imagine you're holding it in your hand. Hold your candle. Okay. Now we're going to blow on our candle, but we're not going to blow it out. We just want to make the candle flame dance and wiggle. So take a long breath in. Softly blow on your candle. And imagine you can see the flame dance and wiggle, but don't blow it out. Do it again. Breathe in. Softly blow. Imagine you can see the flame dance and wiggle. Do it again. Breathe in. One more time, really softly. This time, breathe in. Blow your candle out. Put it down. So there was a recent study that showed in young children that it only takes 4 long, deep breaths, just like we just did, to calm the nervous system in the body. So if you can get a really young child, by doing candle breath or something, to take 4 or more long, deep breaths, all of a sudden you can take them from being really agitated, right, or upset or hyper, to a much more calm state. And they did it by doing something fun, by imagining they're holding a candle.
That was super easy.
It was
Right?
super easy.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's very, very easy. The trick is with children, with young children, to make it fun too, right? So other ones that we do are we pretend we're a bear hibernating for the winter, right? Hibernating in their cave and taking really long, slow, deep breaths. And when bears hibernate, they breathe through their noses, right? So we take long breaths in and out through our noses. Or another one is hot chocolate. And most kids love hot chocolate. Not everybody, but most do. So we imagine we're holding a cup of hot chocolate, but it's much too hot to take a sip. So we have to blow on it to cool it off. So there are lots of ways to do it, but we want to make it fun so that young children will want to engage with it, will want to do it.
How often do we need to do that in a day?
You can do it as often as you want. So mindfulness, because remember, it's paying attention to the present moment. It can be a way of being, right? It can be a way that you move through the world and not just something that you do. So if you imagine taking a walk outside and taking a mindful walk, that means you're not just stuck in your head thinking about what you have to do after school and your homework and the chores you might have to do, but you're actually mindfully listening to the sound of the wind in the trees, paying attention to what it sounds like when your feet hit the sidewalk, smelling what the air smells like. So you can be mindful all throughout the day in everything that you do. You could mindfully eat your food, really paying close attention to what it smells like and looks like, right? It feels like in your mouth before you chew it up and gobble it down, right? Mm-hmm. So mindfulness is something a way you can be all day long, and it can be these exercises and activities that you do. But the more you do it, the more benefits you'll have.
This is completely opposite of what kids are doing today. Because they're all like very stressed out because of school, because there's a lot of tests coming out and they don't really care that much about it. They're like, okay, yeah, the test about like they care about it, but they don't care about actually taking care of themselves.
Yeah, like they study like all night. Nothing. All stressed.
They what?
They study all night.
Right. Which is not healthy.
It's not healthy.
It's not healthy. You can't do well on a test if you've had no sleep because your brain isn't going to be able to function very well. But you're right. It is unfortunately the opposite of how a lot of kids are moving through their days. And there are a lot of reasons for that. One of them is that many kids are attached to screens a lot, right? Whether that's their phones or other devices or computers or TV or video games. And those things by themselves aren't bad, but when they're, all the time and hours a day, that's the opposite of being mindful, right? Because your attention is all sucked in by that screen. And then you get disconnected from your own body, and it's really can have some not very good health effects, right? And another one is, the stress. Children are stressed out by school and stressed out by maybe being overscheduled and stressed out by things going on in their families or things going on in the world. And they don't necessarily have tools to cope with that stress. And that can be really hard. Unfortunately, simple mindfulness like this isn't taught in a lot of schools. It is taught in some, but in my opinion, it should be taught in every school.
We actually studied a mindfulness practice in school.
You did? Tell me about it.
So like in the very morning.
In the very morning, we take a deep breath. Like we do a lion deep breath.
Uh-huh. Can you show me?
And then we do this. And then we do a law after.
Like that.
Wow.
Just to like stretch out.
Yeah. That's really great. It's a great stress reliever to do like a lion yawn and stick your tongue out as far as it'll go. And it feels really
the other ones.
What?
I don't remember the other ones though.
Yeah, that's great. Do you still do it in school now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just started like 2 years ago, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is really important to do when you don't feel stressed. So this is really important to do when you feel stressed, is to just take a deep breath and then just like let it flow away.
It is, but it's also important to make a regular practice of it, because if you are in the habit of doing it, then it's like having a tool in your toolbox. And when you do feel really stressed out, now you know what to do, right? Because sometimes when you're really stressed out or upset or angry or whatever might be happening, it's hard to remember to do something like a mindfulness activity, right? You're just mad. You just want to be mad, right? But if you've been doing it every day, you've been practicing your bear breath or candle breath or whatever exercise it is that feels good to you. Now it's part of a habit. It's part of your routine. So when you do get really stressed out, it's like you can reach for that tool in the toolbox and do it, and it's going to help you feel better. But doing it when you feel good makes it part of your habit, makes it be that useful tool in the toolbox.
How do you think we should incorporate this into our routine?
Well, I love that you do it at the morning in school. That's a great way to do it. And there are a lot of schools that I work with that have that do it first thing in the morning, and do it right after lunch, and do it right before dismissal. And so it becomes part of the school routine. Yeah.
Who wants to do it after lunch?
Yeah. Which is a great time, because you come out from lunch, or maybe you go to recess too, and you're all kind of wound up and stuff, but then you have to sit down and do math, right? Or something like that. So you need something to help calm yourself down and bring your focus back online. And, so I have audio tracks where it's just like, it's a recording of me teaching bear breath or one of those. And some schools will just play it over the PA system in the school 3 times a day. And everybody in the whole school, no matter where you are, even if you're in the hallway, will stop and listen to it and do it like all together. And so it's just a great way to incorporate it into the routine.
That is amazing. But how does mindfulness help with anxiety?
Mindfulness helps with anxiety. Yeah, it can help with anxiety because it helps bring our attention right into the present moment. Yep. So it helps you, it's never going to take away worry, because all of us worry, right? There's things to worry about in the world, and some worry is normal, but anxiety is like when worry goes too far, right? So with mindfulness practice being working on paying attention to the present moment, it makes us think less about the future and worry about it, and less about worrying about what we just did and how we might have looked and what that thing, that we said sounded to that other person and what they thought of us, right? Which is what goes through our minds sometimes. But we just keep bringing ourselves back to the present moment with mindfulness practice, and it lessens those worries. It makes us feel calm.
So how do you incorporate music into your mindfulness practice?
Oh, that's a great question. I love to use music to teach mindfulness. As a lifelong musician and songwriter, it's one of the most natural methods for me. But it's also because music is very regulating in the brain, meaning it's a very calming modality, right? So if you've ever like clapped along to a song, a beat that you really like, it helps your body really feel good, because that rhythm is very organized and very structured. And it's almost like it tells the body to just like settle into it and calm down. And more soothing melodies you've probably noticed that if you hear like a really soothing song with a pretty, maybe a piano melody or something, it can make you feel calm. So music has profound effects on our brains. And so it's a great vehicle for teaching mindfulness, for helping to bring that calm. So a lot of my songs are mindful songs where I combine a little mindfulness lesson into music, and it just makes it that more powerful.
So are there any other ways besides breathing and music?
Yes, there are. Movement is a great way to become mindful. So like I talked about, you can do mindful walking, but you can also do something like, say, a balance challenge. So say you stood up right now and I challenged you to stand on one foot, right? And lift your other foot up as high as you could and breathe out, right? you have to focus all of your attention really carefully in order to stay standing on that one foot. So it's just another way of bringing your attention right into the present moment. If you're standing on one foot and you start thinking about your homework, you're going to fall over, right? Probably,
Yeah.
right? So movement is another one. Listening is a really good one. You can do listening exercises like a little chime or a bell and focus all your attention on that sound. That's a great way to become mindful. You can also do it when you're outside or something. Really focus your attention on the sounds that you're hearing, whether it's cars going by or birds in the trees or whatever. So any activity really can become a mindful activity if you approach it with real focus and attention and paying attention to what's going on right now.
That's incredible. So, how long do you have to do how long do you have to do this for?
For it to be effective, do you mean? Like,
Yes.
yeah. So, with young children especially, it's hard to have them pay attention to anything for very long, right? So a 5-year-old doesn't have a very long attention span. But like I said, it only takes 4 deep breaths. Do you remember that study that I mentioned to help them calm down? So most of my mindfulness exercises are like 1 minute or less. They're really, really short. And of course, you can do it as long as you want, or you could repeat it, or you can do more than one. But all it takes is about 60 seconds to have that calming effect. So consistency is more important than how long it is. I think some people think, oh, mindfulness, I don't have 20 minutes to sit and breathe in and out. You don't need to have 20 minutes. You need 1 minute, but you should do it consistently. That's the really important thing.
So, let's say you're in school and right now you're learning something, but this is the time you have to do one of the exercises. Is there a way to how should I say this? Actually, what is one thing kids can do today?
Yeah, well, and it ties into what you just said. If you're in school and you need something to do, here, I'll give you one. We'll do it together. Ready? Starfish. Show me your hand. Spread out your fingers wide and imagine it's a starfish. Put one finger to the base of your thumb, other finger to the base of your thumb. Trace up and breathe in. Trace down, breathe out. Go to your next finger. Trace up, breathe in. Trace down, breathe out. Next finger. Trace up, breathe in. Trace down, breathe out. Keep going. Trace up, breathe in. Trace down, breathe out. Now you're at your pinky. Trace up, breathe in. Trace down, breathe out. And you can do it absolutely silently, right? And you can have your hand down on your desk. No one even needs to see you. But by doing that, you get 5 long, deep breaths. And if you do 2 hands, you get 10 long, deep breaths. And all of a sudden, you'll feel a lot calmer. So there's an easy one to do.
We love that.
It has a song to go with it, too. You could find a song called Peaceful and Calm. I'm glad you like it.
So where can people learn more about you and your amazing work?
Thank you for asking. My website is kirawilley.com. Really easy. That's my name. It's KIRAWILLEY.com. You can find my music on Spotify or Apple Music or anywhere you get your music. And you can find my books anywhere you get your books, Barnes & Noble or Amazon or any independent bookstores. So it's very widely available. And I really appreciate you guys having me.
That was so empowering. Everybody make sure to follow Miss Willey on social media, and her books is a must get.
Thank you so much, Miss Willey.
Thank you very much for having me.
Let's look at Miss Willey's key points.
Kids don't need to suffer. There's so much we can do to help us. Mindfulness is just paying attention to what is going to what is going on right now. Incorporate baby steps into your everyday. The most common tool is our breath. It is always with us, and we can control our breath. It calms us down.
Holding a candle.
Holding a candle, softly blow on your candle, breathing in and then softly breathing out. It takes 4 long, deep breaths to calm the nervous system in the body.
Mhm.
You can do it as often as you want.
Another way to practice mindfulness is that we can pay attention to the daily routine. If you take a walk outside, listen to the music of the trees, smell what the day feels good. We are all really worry. Some worry is normal, but then we worry get too far. Okay. Mindfulness will help us think less about the future, more present about the moment. This is the simplest thing that we can implement in our daily routine that will help our brain and body function.
Other ways to become more mindful is to do a balance challenge. Movement, listening exercises, and focus on those sounds. Focus on those sounds that you're hearing. Any activity can become a mindful activity. You just have to start at any age. It takes 4 deep breaths. Anyone can do that. So thanks everyone for tuning in. Until next time, I'm Zansari.
I'm Ahmad.
And I'm Carson.
Follow my family and I on social media, Holistic Mom D, and look out for our mom's book. She has written a lot of them. Kids need to learn from other kids. Please download our podcast on iTunes and leave a review so other kids and families can benefit. We need to create a healthier future for all of us and the planet. Join us next week for another episode of the Holistic Kid Show, where kids are empowering kids. Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you
you.
so much again, Miss Kira.
Thank you. Bye.